So
Yeah.
think about the things that are very easy for you. Like for me, creating the hooks in the videos, that is easy for me, but I know that's not easy for other people. And one little piece of wisdom that I share could really help somebody. So recognizing that you have a lot of pieces of wisdom that you can share that don't need over explanation.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Win the Hour, Win the Day. And I am your host, Chris Ward. And today we have Jaya Rose in the house. She's an online business coach, and we are going to talk about the 5 keys to creating short form videos that convert. Welcome to the show, Jaya.
Hello. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, I'm thrilled to have you here. And listen, I was started finding you online with your short form content. It really spoke to me, and I reached out to you and I said, hey, let's do this. Let's have some fun. Because there was a number of things that you said that really resonated with me. And I felt that had a fresh perspective than everything out there. So I'm
Mm,
really eager to dive into this. So let's talk about that. Where do you want to start with creating content that's going to convert?
yeah. It's just, isn't it just a seascape of noise out there? I mean, that you found me and felt some connection, and then here we are with a materialized opportunity for both of us. So I guess I want to ask you what made you want to talk to me from a video that was 15 or 30 seconds long?
Well, I'm jealous to tell you that because the rest of us struggle so much with it, right? It's, oh, how do I get this message shorter and shorter to the
Yes.
point? My name, right? There was a number of things that you did that I thought you did exceptionally well. And also the message was different. So I love how you
Mm,
talk about being bold. One of the things too that really I thought was unique, it was funny, is, oh, your message doesn't have to be unique, but you do.
yes.
Yeah, you can be out there talking about the same thing that somebody else is. And it doesn't have to be some great new invention, but
Yeah.
he else explained it to me once, and I thought it was well said. Nobody ever says, I'm not going to open up another pizza joint. There's lots of pizza joints out there. Why do you open up
Mm.
another pizza joint? Because you think you have a special sauce, right?
Oh, yeah. I love that.
Yeah. So I thought you did really well, and combining the whole idea of how important short form video content is now, because that's what it's all about. All the
Yeah.
platforms are moving towards TikTok style, and it's just short form, short form, short form.
Yep.
But I thought you were refreshing, simple, like you talk about being bold and clear.
Yeah.
And it was just a good reminder to me that I'm fine in front of the camera. Like, I'm not like camera shy or anything, but when it turns on is sometimes you do get in that position of presenting. And I
Yeah.
think you do a really good job of talking. And I could learn
Mm.
a lot from that.
That's really powerful. And I love that you gave a specific quote, which is your message may not be unique, but you are. And that
Yeah.
is really the key. So I think the question you asked me was, how do you get started creating content that's compelling and attracts people? And I think that's really the cornerstone of it. That if you're holding yourself back from sharing your message because you see other people saying something similar, sharing a similar message or even outcome in their business, that does not mean that it's going to reach everybody. There's a million reasons why that is not a good reason to hold yourself back,
Mhm.
especially if what you want to do is help more people, get your business out in front of more people, and ultimately change lives. And that's what most service providers do, right? It's like they
Yeah.
help transform lives in some way. And so to think that one person sharing a message similar to you has got it, right? That's a lot to put on them. It's like for me, if you saw me sharing this message and you're like, I can really share something similar, I wouldn't want you to just leave it all for me to do. In the team, let's do it together. And I think that we need to recognize that we all have a special contribution. And whether it's seen from the outside or it's something you bring more internally, like just your energy, it all matters.
And I think it's really interesting too, because I see this in other people, and then you forget that it applies to yourself. So I think
Yeah.
it's like when I look at you and think, oh, you know what, you're just mid conversation in these videos, and you get the sense that I truly am having a dialogue with you, or I've started this relationship with you a couple months ago. You don't know who I am, but here we are every day, and you're talking to me.
Yeah.
So I think it's one of your strengths of it's just mid conversation, mid flow. And then it's so easy to think, oh, like again, you go back to the camera. And when it's my turn, I say, okay, you got to start from the beginning of the story. You got to get this whole
Mm,
presentation.
Yeah.
I hear constantly from other people, you have to have something to show and tell. And it's much more dynamic and it's going to do better in the video. And yet you don't have any show and tells. You're doing fine. You're just having a conversation. And as we scroll by, we have to stop because it's almost like I feel like what I think one of your strengths are is I'm walking through the room and you could be at my kitchen table talking to somebody in my family. I'm like, wait, what? What are we talking about? Hold on. And so that again lets us know that we don't have to follow this prescribed formula. Just figure out where you're most comfortable and then cut to a short video.
I love that analogy because it really is like that, getting someone's attention where the pattern is to scroll. So it's a pattern interrupter, right? If your pattern was to walk through the room and continue to move forward in the room, but it stops you to listen to what someone's saying at the kitchen table, that is the same exact principle of short form video and grabbing that attention. I will say that if it looks natural when I'm doing it, that's because I've practiced to the point where it looks natural, and it's not, right? No short form videos really are natural. You had to set up your camera. You thought about what you were going to say. It is all scripted in a way. Things can come out that you didn't plan to say, but you did plan to turn on your camera at that moment. You do, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're good point. Like you weren't caught off surprise. You knew what was going to happen.
Exactly.
So also it lends itself to, for a while too, you're hearing hook, hook, hook. Like you have to have a hook. Here's the 3 biggest mistakes I made when I started my business. Or here's the 3 things I changed so I could stop working 16 hours a day. Right? Great. But then I find with yours as well, again, maybe I'm missing the hook because I get so sucked in, but it's just mid conversation.
You are.
Okay.
The one video you referred to around, I was recording a podcast. So and it was
that's different, but I have seen the other ones. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. So that would be an isolated instance where it is more mid conversation and that is cool content to create. If someone is talking to you.
Sorry to jump in. Even when you're in your car and stuff, you make it seem like,
Okay. So always a hook. There's always a hook. And I would actually challenge you to go back and watch a couple and see if you can identify what the hook is, because it's true. The number one thing I see people doing incorrectly or just ways that aren't going to actually convert or help people come to them or know what they do, they don't have hooks. And it's do or die. It's do or die.
Let me jump in here for a second. I think now that you said that, is your hooks are less hooky. Is that, write that down, everybody. That's a word, hooky. So what I mean by that, all the other hooks are overused. Like, here's the 3 things, whatever. And there's another video you did where you said, look, if you want to know if your short form video is working, sales. That's it. So you're right. There is a hook there. Hey, do I want to know if my short form video is working? You got my attention. I guess what I'm saying is you're not subscribing to all the traditional hooks that we've all been overusing.
True. That's true. But I'm like the notorious rebel. If everyone's doing it, I just can't anyway. And that's probably to my own detriment, but it is important. And I think you used the right word there. It's a 10 cornerstone. We don't have to go through 5 keys. We don't even have to finish this podcast. I'll just tell you right now, the key to creating short form video that converts is having the ability to get and keep attention, period.
In your 5 keys, the number 1 though is being bold. So what does being bold mean to you?
Yeah. And so being visible online is going to require you to be bold, and specifically what I mean by that. And I use the word flex because I love muscle analogies. I was a personal trainer for 12 years before I took my business online. And so everything to me is like related to muscles. So if you think about flexing a muscle versus allowing it to just relax, you see the strength of the muscle when you flex it. Think about a bicep just being relaxed. Okay. That may be you on a regular basis, but you have all of these skills and abilities and stories and ways that you have helped people or what you do has helped your own life, which is equally as valuable. You need to flex the muscle. I want to see the bicep. Whether or not you have a big bicep or not, I do not care. That's not the point. The point is that we've got to gather all of it together and pull it in. And that's what flexing is. Right.
So what does that look like for the regular, for us? How would I be flexing because I know you talked about the flexing your knowledge and stuff. And I love the energy of that word, which again, was bold, stood out, stopped the scroll, got it.
Exactly, because it hits right to it, right?
Yeah.
So a couple things here. One, practice creating hooks, and that just means like quick attention grabber out of things that you do in your business that help people all the time. So what are some examples of ways that you have helped people? And Chris, before we started this, you told me ways how people, here's one, people get back 25 hours a week in the first month of working with you. How I help my clients get back 25 hours a week in the first month of working together. There's
Okay.
the hook. That's a flex.
Okay.
So
Right.
flexing how you help people. And the reality is that you have to do that as a business owner when you are promoting yourself. That is that's like part of the nature of it. But short form video is condensed. So if the nature of promoting yourself means that you need to flex and share the good stuff, share the wins, win the day. If we're
Yeah.
going to
Yeah.
win the day, we want to share it. You just got to think about it that it's condensed. So it's even
Right.
more. So I don't have an hour-long conversation where I can tell you my whole story about how I was a personal trainer for 12 years, making $30,000 a year. And when I found the online space, I saw all these people with not a lot more skill or credibility than me making $1 million a year or 6 figures a year even. And it struck me to the core that I had more in me to give. And that ultimately, if they could do it, I could do it too. And that
Yeah.
transformed my whole life. Now I
Cool.
took,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, you're like, oh, maybe I want to know more about that. But in order to make that compelling in 3 seconds, and I can't say all of that. So I need to be able to condense it. I went from making $30,000 a year to multiple 6 figures, and I had a lot of imposter syndrome when I did it. Here are 3 ways I overcame that.
Okay. So I hear you. And what I hear is, I don't know if I'm the only one that has this disease, but I'm sure I
Yeah.
can't be, is I always, the introduction, telling the story before the story, right? Like you're
Yes.
talking to,
Like why
and
you're going to tell it.
yeah. And so I would have probably in a more passive way say, you know what, my clients constantly tell me that within the first month of working with us, they get 25 hours back a week. Hello, cut the fat. It's
Yeah.
back to your analogy. Just go do the push-up. Never mind telling people you're going to warm up. This is what you're going to do and whatever. Just go do the damn push-up. So I think what you're saying is, even if I don't love the idea of scripts, because then you get caught up in the script and it comes off a little bit less
Yes.
genuine. But if I was to write that out and then take that red marker and cancel out the
Yes.
words that just cut to the core of it, to the bone,
Yes.
then that you're right. Here, how I get my clients 25 hours back a week is, and here's 3 ways I do it.
Within the first month of working
Yeah.
together, because you want that little bit of
Yes.
shock
Right.
factor. And
Yeah.
to speak to that analogy of just go do the push-up, you know, we don't want to see the warm-up. We don't want to see all the work you did to
Right.
get your bicep to flex. We just want to see you flex. We don't need to see you doing the reps or whatever it is.
Right.
Unfortunately, that's just the nature of the world. We are very external in the way we view things. It's just how it is.
Yeah, no, you're right. I know that they were talking about, one time I seen it behind the scenes where they're talking about an actor standing there, even a muscle guy with no shirt on, right before they yell go, he does push-ups so that his abs are more flexed, and then they shoot.
Yeah, exactly.
So just get to the point.
Now we're muscle men. It's cool.
Yeah. Okay. So that's really insightful. So I guess that's part of being bold, is just cut to it instead of softly introducing, this is what my clients say about me. So I'm not bragging. I'm telling you what they say. Get to it. Okay.
That's right. And why do we do that? Why do we all have these stories that we shouldn't be too much, that we shouldn't talk about ourselves, that we shouldn't brag. God forbid I'm a woman who looks like me, who I'm not in a suit. I'm an unconventional woman out here talking about money and money wins. This is rebellion in some ways. And it does take being bold. Like that's why it's considered bold, because it's just not status quo to do it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm learning. All right. And then condensing your message. I guess we touched on that a little bit already, because just cut the fat.
Cut the fat. And also one thing I love to remind people is that things that are really easy for you. So if you are, let's say that you are a nutritionist and you help people get more nutrients into their day, a lot of things about that are going to be very easy for you. But for someone who did not grow up eating healthy at all and maybe doesn't even know what nutrients look like, you're going to blow their mind by showing them how they can add spinach to their smoothie, something that you do every single day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
think about the things that are very easy for you. Like for me, creating the hooks in the videos, that is easy for me, but I know that's not easy for other people. And one little piece of wisdom that I share could really help somebody. So recognizing that you have a lot of pieces of wisdom that you can share that don't need over explanation. And I love to think about truth bombs. So something I help people do in my Magnetic on Camera program is just create a list of truth bombs. Start to think about your wisdom and even your conversations or what you would say to someone to help them, but in the form of just one potent truth bomb.
And you know what's interesting to me about that too is I think anything done well looks easy. And then we start to
Yeah.
subscribe to that thinking, oh, everyone knows how to do that because it just comes natural to me. But also I know we were having this discussion with my team, and when somebody starts working with us in the winner's circle, one of the first things we do is just basic stuff. The first couple of weeks is 90% of people are using their calendar wrong. It's in the most rudimentary ways. The most successful people in the world are using the same calendar as we are. And they will buy or not buy a company just by asking to see the calendar of the person in charge, because there's so much information there. Now, to me, we do that in the infancy stage of working with us. It's so small, it's basic. And I know people get a high off it, and it really is a game changer for them. But I wasn't doing that in my short form videos because it's not really what I do. We're not all into the productivity thing. It's here's your running shoes if you're going to go to the gym. And then heaven help me, I see somebody else doing something similar about the calendar, and she's just got this cheap thing, a video on TikTok where you're showing the blue screen behind you. And of course it's going through the roof. Everyone finds this fascinating. I'm like, I do that in the first day. We don't even talk about it. I think we skim over and and we start to get to what we think is the heavier academic stuff. Oh, let me get to the important stuff. That's not the important stuff. And then we're missing the jewels. And I know I've done that more times than I care to admit.
Yes. No, you're so right. It's like we live within our own experience, and we have to really look at things differently in order to condense your message and share from a place that's going to help people. But just like you said to me before this podcast, my audience wants to be able to take something away from this. That's what you said. You said, we want to give them a quick win. These more like conceptual things are great, but we really want people to win the day, win the hour, win the day, right? What's a quick thing? And so it's really that same concept. Like you already have that.
I have just been schooled because it's my whole philosophy on everything I do. And it's not in my short form videos, because the short form videos, sometimes I'll go down the lane of, listen, there's this whole mentality of grinding it out. And that's part of the journey, and it's not. And so if I'm not careful, I get into the concepts of why I'll joke around and say that which doesn't kill you makes you tired, or here's what you're being led to believe. And it's just so the idea of building a team that once you get to a certain level can afford it. No, you can do it now, and you're never going to get there without that team. So I get down these conceptual roads, but you're right. I've just been schooled, because it is everything we do in this podcast or anything I do with my paying clients. It's now no fluff, big results. That's what I'm all about. But I'm skimming over stuff in my short form videos because I think I have to explain the explanation of what I'm telling you.
So I really love to tell people, if you can help someone have a transformation in 30 seconds, imagine what they will do, what action they'll be willing to take next, which it could very easily lead to a sale.
Yeah. Damn it. Good stuff here, people. You can talk amongst yourselves, because I'm just arguing in my brain that
we gotta go. We got stuff to do.
I'm like, oh my gosh, how did I not see this? And I tell my clients that all the time. You can't see the prescription when you're in the bottle.
It's true.
Oh my heavens. Okay.
No, I'm a business coach, but I absolutely would hire a business coach to help. Oh, that's why we need community and we need other eyes on our stuff. It's
100%.
It's great.
Okay. Does that cover potent? Because I feel like it's potent. Are we potent? Okay. Okay. So then let's move to outlining and scripts. What is your philosophy on that?
I love this because you mentioned a couple of times that you don't like that and it can feel canned. And I think that that's your truth. And we need to start there. If I was helping you as a client, I would say that's totally fine. also, you know very well that when you create structure around something, it allows for more freedom within it.
Yeah.
And in all places in your business, that's true. And it's true with video as well. So it's funny because I'm actually putting out a video today where I teach an outline that almost every single one of my videos follows. Do I ever look at that outline and or think about it while I'm doing a video? No, because I've done it so many times. So now it's the freedom within it, though, to know that, okay, this is what's going to help it land. It's going to potentially help it get seen by more people. We do need structure because it's not a normal way to communicate at all. I find it very helpful to go, okay, we need a hook that's
Yeah.
3 to 5 seconds.
Oh, I do that for sure.
Okay, then we
Yeah.
need to tell people,
Yeah.
we need to make sure that we're telling people what they're going to get out of the video. So this is what an outline looks like in my world, is not
Okay.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's why you're saying it.
Yeah. No,
Right?
100%. So let me clarify, because I do agree with you. I definitely do outline. I definitely have the hook ready. I do all that. And also now with the ability to have jump cuts, and if for some reason you're watching this, you don't know what a jump cut is, it means that I can just say a sentence like, I help clients save 25 hours a week within the first month, clip. And then I can say the next sentence and hit record again, so that there is a
Yeah.
skip in the video, but I'm really only recording one sentence at a time. So in the past, I struggle with scripts where then you're talking and trying to remember, do I say hence now or therefore?
Oh,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? But I think
Yes.
now you could write out the script because you're doing it one line at a time anyhow, as long as you don't get stuck on making this an essay. But I do agree, definitely lots of structure in the outline. And really, you can lean into scripting more now when you don't have to memorize it.
Yes.
Okay.
And for me, I teach people scripts, like I give them scripts within my program. They're really just ideas. So a script
Yeah.
around how to sell something is going to look different than a script around 5 tips for something, or a
Right.
truth bomb for something, or right. There's all these different ways. It's more like, what style are you communicating it? And
Right.
that's
I
what the
gotcha.
script is going to help you with.
Yeah, because the winging it gets back to now you're chatting, people are scrolling by, your mother wouldn't even watch the video. So I do believe in structure and everything. Structure frees you. That's what it
Yes,
does. Yeah.
it totally
Okay.
does. And I am Mrs. Free Spirit. If you told me what to do, I would immediately think I didn't know how to do it and or I didn't want to do it. So I cannot deal with structure very well. I have to be creating my own structure within everything or I'll rebel against it. So I don't have a day of the week where I create a bunch of videos, right? I don't batch content. I don't have all of my outlines done. I just know how to do it in my brain. And then therefore I know how to teach it to people who need more structure
Mhm.
than me. So I think you
Right.
can really meet yourself where you are so you don't rebel against it.
That makes sense. Okay. And the fifth one is content and convert.
That's the fourth one. The other one
Oh,
is
sorry.
promotion and sales.
Oh, promotion.
Um,
Okay.
Yeah. So content that converts is all about giving those wins that are relevant to your actual business.
Okay.
And so one thing we really need to remember with short form video is that every single video you create could be the one that reaches the largest audience, every single one. And we can't use that because that is the power of short form video, especially on an app like TikTok,
Okay.
where there's a For You page and you are able to get in front of so many new people. So because of that, we need to have a way that we're thinking about our content that is always leading back to what we do. I believe you probably do this well already because you have a clear message within your business, but to the detriment of businesses, you can get distracted and think, oh, I could just do a video about this product that I use every day. And it's like, you don't really want that video to go viral because then you're
Right.
going to have a ton of people who are all about your skincare routine when you're teaching how to create a podcast. And they're
Yeah.
not going to be interested, then you're going to have very low views. It's going to affect the algorithm. There's a lot of reasons
I
not to
think what you're
do that.
speaking to, Jaya, is the idea of people get all, oh, okay, just need the video to go viral and then everything will be fine. And there's me at McDonald's. That wouldn't happen, by the way. But anyhow,
Yeah.
somebody at
Yeah.
McDonald's. And then that video goes viral and you think that's just going to translate. They'll watch all your other videos. No, that's a person interested in whatever hamburger you're having,
Yes.
and they're not going to be buying your course. So yes, you can have great success, but it doesn't lend it. Don't then follow over to all your other videos. So I think that's a good tale.
Yes. And speaking directly to the outcome that you help people with within your business. For example, like I mentioned already, I'm launching a program called Magnetic on Camera. So I'm doing a series on TikTok called Magnetic on Camera, the series that helps you attract an audience of soul fans who buy from you. And I say that over and over in every single video. That's a really great example of how to create content that converts. Because what is my intention? Not everyone has to buy my program at all, but the people who want to, I want them to know it's available and that it is a potential way that I can help them. And so thinking about it that way, what are the objectives of this content?
Makes sense. Okay. So our last one quickly is promotion. Did you say?
Yes.
What?
Promotion and sales.
Okay. All right. In 2 minutes, can you run us by what we should be keeping in mind of that?
One thing I love about promotion and sales is that if you have all of these other pieces in place, if you are being bold, you're able to create a potent message. You're being clear about what you're speaking through outlines, and you have content that is leading back into your business, then promotion and sales really happens on the back end. And so I teach how to do promotion and sales within short form video. And the truth is that most of it doesn't happen in short form video. It's about what you do to lead people into your funnel or your, I call it like a leadership ladder, where they're coming into the next phase of whether it's just your email list or listening to your podcast, and then you're selling in whatever means you do. I launch things, like I do launches. I invite people into a free workshop. Now, the important thing to know is that you really aren't going to sell on short form video.
Yeah.
That's the key. And so if you're not making sales, then we identify those other places.
No, that is a good reminder. It is not, it is so people can know of you, so you can take them to the next step. It is not, oh my gosh, I'm putting up these videos and then Narnia ensues and everything is just hunky dory. So
yes,
that is a good reminder, because I do think that we hear it so often why we have to do it. You do have to be there. It's like you can't not be in the room that everybody else is in. You have to be there for sure, but then you have to do something next after that. That's a good reminder.
Let me put it to you this way. If you had a storefront and you were giving out samples of brownies and it's a bakery, you would maybe have a table outside that's giving people samples. And that's great. You're not going to try to sell to somebody right then. They're going to taste it. They're going to decide if they like it. They're either going to walk away or they're going to want to come in the store to look to see, can I buy this? Do you have these available? And so that is your storefront. And it's important to know when is the right time to make the offer to them.
That is just, everybody write these things down. All right. Because it's a very good analogy and we all can appreciate and remember brownies.
Yes.
Okay, Jaya, where can we find more of your brilliance?
Yes, I'm with Jaya Rose everywhere on social. So Instagram or TikTok. I recommend following me on TikTok because that's where I do most of my original content.
Okay.
And my website is thejayarose.com. I'm trying to change it to withjayarose.com, but then I have to change all the links everywhere.
Oh, okay.
So
we'll see how that goes. We'll check you out both places and see where you are. Okay. That is fantastic. We so appreciate you, and everyone else. We will see you in the next episode.
Okay. Thank you.